I hope you don't mind. I wrote everything down so I can try to not forget any of this. I hope that won't affect your cameras or anything. Okay. Sorry I have to make this video this way. All blacked out and my voice distorted like this. But, this country doesn't like whistleblowers. And, now, that's what I am. I'm sure they will figure out who I am. So, maybe then what I'm about to tell you is gonna make a little bit more sense. I've devoted my life to making things that I thought was for the betterment of me. But those motherfuckers always find a way to weaponize it. I was so utterly disgusted by the way that they used my projects that I pivoted. I decided maybe I could be more helpful as someone who was making stuff to protect our people from the actual monsters in the world. I guess, of course, excluding themselves from that equation. Little did I know, as our capabilities of protecting ourselves grew, so did the quote-unquote enemies that we were racking up. But anyway, I'm off track. Started to rant. I'm here to get you guys in the loop. I am an engineer working deep in the military industrial complex of the United States government. A few weeks ago, I was sent a brain bridge implant that was thought to be defective. They wanted me to see what was going on and see if I could prevent it from happening in the future. I found a sort of malware on the implant, and my colleagues and I didn't fully understand how it worked. It was very oddly coded, and its operation wasn't always uniform. After a week or so, my colleagues and I figured out how to temporarily disable the implant, but it didn't fix the malware. It seemed to always come back, and we weren't entirely sure how. Current theory is that the infected implant connects itself to good implants and transfers the malware sort of like a computer worm. But we weren't exactly sure how. We watched an infected implant transfer the malware to a known good implant inside of a Faraday cage. It was specifically built to prevent communication from going from the infected implant to the known good one. And then it all got worse. One morning, we discovered a weird graphical glitch on our office computers. We, of course, immediately got suspicious, started digging around, and found the Brain Bridge malware on our lab computers. We, of course, by the end of the day, had the whole place on lockdown so that we could monitor the malware. It didn't seem to be doing anything actively, but it wouldn't allow updates. So we definitely couldn't get rid of it. It would also, in a developer's mind, keep the computer from receiving critical patches to keep it from doing stuff in the future. By the end of the day, it seemed like our whole building was infected. So, of course, we quarantined all electrical devices. And I'm talking, we had boxes of phones, laptops, watches. We even kept the simple shit like calculators and coffee machines because we didn't know to what extent it could have its effect on IoT devices. We just weren't sure. But after some checking, it seemed like just about all mobile devices, such as phones and laptops, had the malware. So it's spreading rapidly. So of course, my colleagues and I were very concerned about what this meant for the government, but also for the greater population. What if it was to leave this building? Even though, looking back, it already had. So, naturally, I took this concern up the chain. And my bosses didn't seem to care at all. They would continuously ask what it was doing that was malicious. And since we didn't really have a proper answer for that yet, they didn't seem to care. As long as it wasn't hurting anything, it wasn't a problem to them. So for the next 3 days or so, my colleagues and I went back to work with the original infected implant. And since we couldn't figure out how to remove the malware, we focused more on finding a way to keep it from spreading. We did find a way, and it took us a couple extra days to finalize the procedure, mostly because the only way we could find was to technically pry the implant while having it in a sleep-like state. So of course, anytime you do that kind of thing with an implant that's in a body, we had to set up some safe procedures with our medical staff. Then we got wind of an incident out in the field that was related to our project. And after a few hours of desperate pleading, we, meaning my colleagues and I, got to see the body cam footage of a soldier out in the field who shot the rest of his team. Gruesome as that is, a few minutes later, they all got back up. They didn't really seem to be too coherent, but they were standing after just being shot. So of course, that gave us a whole new problem. So, reports of this nature kept rolling in. The last I was aware, it was up to 5. So, with this knowledge, my team and I got to work on a device that we deemed a Communication Management System, or CMS for short. What this device did was put the BrainBridge implants into a sleep-like state so that they could safely be deactivated. However, I'm unsure what happened after we handed off the communication management system to our higher-ups, because after we gave them that device, we started getting the cold shoulder. By the time we were done testing the CMS, the incidents had rose to 13. So, of course, they were keeping everything very tight-lipped. A couple days had went by, I still hadn't heard anything from my higher-ups about any of the BrainBridge situation. So a rumor started going around that there was a survivor of an incident that was brought into the med wing. However, I never got a confirmation. But a few hours after that rumor started spreading, I was kicked from my lab. I don't know if it's true or not, but that was a pretty good confirmation. After a week and a half of me bugging my superiors to give me some information on the project, I was fired. As of right now, I was fired 4 days ago. So who knows how bad it's gotten in the last few weeks since I first known about any trouble. The government is trying very much to sweep this under the rug, and I am here to let the people know. Because not only are our troops possibly dangerous more than usual, but who knows what else this malware could affect. So, my fellow Americans, you have been warned, and I wish you luck. Good here?